Hello everyone, today we have quite common content just for Moscow. Today's video will be about fake Chinese parts. Well, and accordingly, you do for yourself. You need it or not. And a burning desire to save money. Is it worth your health? Well, and accordingly, the health of your car, and those around you too. Here's the backstory. This car was picked up by the owner. From the repair shop, he called and said he was coming to us to do a camber. You see, the car is exactly where it should be now. But there's one thing. The car didn't make it to us on its own. Why? Well, it is also quite trivial for the last couple of years of our life. It's because the car couldn't make it to us. But now, I'm going to show you why. But it was because of fake Chinese parts. I have posted videos on this topic quite often before. I've gotten a little bit away from it lately. But I think it's a topic that's so advanced now. But I mean because of the situation of the last few years. We need to show it. It's all about the fact that the search for original parts has now become less acute. There are original parts, there are outright fakes. Maserati has something of an average compromise, believe me. The so-called analogs, but in fact it is also fakes, it is a counterfeit. Maserati simply has no such thing, it does not exist. Either there is an original or there are fakes. Now I will show you what happened to this car. If you look more widely and more deeply, the situation is catastrophic. Bentleys with similar parts often come in. But just you see, it's one thing to save money, another thing is safety. It's different things, and I am sure that the owners of these cars most likely do not even know about it. Because as a rule, if you bring the car to some non-core service, it is just the service itself buys parts for you. But these parts turn out to be of inadequate quality. Naturally, the end consumer suffers. I think that in at least half of the cases, it is presented in such a way that there is a good thing that you can buy much cheaper. Buy it. But actually, the answer is simple. Why would a car service do that? The auto repair shop makes good money on the individual part. The owner on a per-part basis makes nothing. He can save 10% of the original. The rest goes into the pockets of the owners of the service station, and accordingly, the sellers of all this illiquid. But imagine, if you bought a part, some vital part, without knowing the whole situation, and then had an accident. In this case, I wonder who to ask. From the one who sold the parts to the service, or from the service? But in your case, I understand, you have to ask the service this question. Well, the fact that the service will get from the sellers of this Chinese illiquid is a very, very big doubt. So in principle, the owners of the service also, I think this video to the owners of the service will be useful and quite instructive in general. Look what happened. The car did not reach us. It left after repair and now it has a broken stabilizer bar. New stabilizer bar. New fake stabilizer bar. Now I'll show you how the original stabilizer bar looks. Well, and respectively, how do not look like the original stabilizer bar. But my opinion is that with regard to the chassis, braking system, these are things like this. In any case, you cannot even look at such things. I mean, surrogate. Therefore, but once again, I urge you to be very attentive to the purchase of spare parts, even if you do not do it for your car. Be sure to ask the car service center what they are putting in for you. If necessary, take some papers from them to prove later that you had nothing to do with it and they put it to you. Here we go. Solen blocks in the levers. Again, the design of the levers here is such that the Solen blocks are not detailed. These are fake Solen blocks. They cost 1,000 rubles, but at one time at the request of one of the customers we put them. To be honest, I started to shoot a video then, but due to the fact that I was away on a business trip, I did not finish it. Anyway, this car reached St. Petersburg, which I am telling you about, and these solenoids fell apart. Can you imagine, right? So he paid us for the work, we changed them, and this is the result. In this case, you have to buy separate levers, but levers can also be counterfeit. So once again, I urge you to look carefully at everything you buy and spend money on. So So in this situation, it's about to be a story with the valving blocks in this particular car. We, of course, pointed this out to the owner, but now we are just talking about changing him new levers, putting simply the original ones. Well, if you have a Maserati, I think that you bought it hardly with the last money, and at least this purchase was conscious. Now here's the interesting part. This is what the part looks like, basically, that's standing there. It's this color, you see, light. This is the new stabilizer bar, which you can see what's happened to it. But we change the original. This Chinese junk, we're dismantling it now. Well, of course, we'll throw it away. Now I'll show you the shave, so you know your heroes, who produces all this junk. You see, right? It says Wilshire right here. Well, that's it, I guess. I think you can see it from here. It's a thing made in China, but it's also a thing with logos on it. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Maserati. But just in general, I think you will draw your own conclusions. But here, in fact, it is not about this organization alone. A lot of these things are sold in our Avito, a lot of them are sold on Kuntsevsky Market, and in general on all marketplaces. The same zap. In fact, in these marketplaces, no one monitors the quality of the products sold. No one asks whether you are selling the original or not. So you have to be very careful. There are more new brake discs here. I'm sure it'll be the same fake. And it's an interesting story. They will knock it down at speeds above 130 kilometers per hour. That's a proven fact. So I hope this video was helpful to you. But make your own conclusions. If you have any questions, be sure to write. I will, as far as my competence allows, of course, comment on all of this. Well, and not only that, believe me, I have a lot of knowledge about all these fake parts, not only on Maserati, but also on Bentley. Well, I'm going to surprise you. Ferrari parts have been counterfeited too. They're counterfeiting filters. They're counterfeiting suspension parts. Well, everything is being tampered with nowadays. But apparently, we have to endure this unpleasant stage in our lives. Sooner or later, everything will get better. Well, and I think that our authorities will also start to pay attention to it. But, as a rule, in our country it all ends. A person must get into some unpleasant situation, some high-profile accident, only after that people begin to check the whole matter somehow, indignant well, and some history must happen. By the way, in addition to the color, in principle, the untrained eye, you cannot determine that it is a fake. Well, in general, this is a story about parallel imports, about spare parts, which, as it seems, are produced almost at home. But you know, yes, you have to be very selective about it. And, accordingly, I think that soon there will probably be some lists of companies who do all these things. Perhaps in time, they will be able to produce something good. But I think that this good should be produced in Russia, but not in China. Because the goal here is to save money in order to make money. But it is not you, as the owner of the car, who will earn money. Everyone else will make money. Therefore, buy original parts. Take care of yourself. Remember that safety is the most important thing. In addition to your safety, there is the safety of others. And I think that this is also an important factor why you should buy only original parts. And in general, I think that's the end of this video. Have a good viewing. Write in the comments, how do you like this story? And maybe you have some stories of your own. Be sure to share. If you have any videos, send them in. I'll be sure to publish them. That's all for now. Bye everyone.